they have spent all year investigating the president and have turned up with no evidence, none. Even House Republicans have said the evidence does not exist. To my friend in the back who just yelled at, which is incredibly inappropriate, but House Republicans have said that it doesn't exist.
And that was White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre slamming the impeachment inquiry against President Biden. Biden made his first public comment since the inquiry was announced last night, saying, quote, "They want to impeach me because they want to shut down the government." The House GOP conference is planning a closed-door meeting this morning for key committee chairmen to lay out their latest findings in the investigation into the Biden family's influence peddling. Joining us right now is Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett. He's a member of the Oversight and Foreign Affairs Committees. Congressman, it's good to see you. Thanks very much for being here this morning. What is your take on what you just heard from Karine Jean-Pierre?
Well, maybe they'll bring out all those security experts that said that the Hunter Biden laptop didn't exist either. You know, there's over $20 million in unaccounted for money that has flowed through the Biden crime family. There's no proof they paid taxes. They've created over 20 LLCs to literally launder this money. Again, where is the proof that they even paid taxes on this? What were they paying for? What were these criminal enterprises that were giving the Biden family money for? You know, why are there are thousands of emails where Joe Biden used an alias? You know, how much of this can we stand? And the Democrats can say there's no evidence. That's their standard line. But you'll notice it's just a few of the ranking Democrats, the hardcore liberals, in the very blue districts. So it's not your rank and file Democrats that are saying this, and they are honestly saying he's got some problems. And I agree with you. I don't think Joe Biden will be the nominee.
Yeah.
I think the governor of California will probably be it. Yeah. Because there's just too much.
Well, I mean, initially, months ago, I said I didn't think there was a shot that Joe Biden would be the nominee. That was largely because of his capacity. But now that we see all of these, this evidence coming out, I mean, what do you make of those Democrats who are actually saying it to your face that there's no evidence that exists? You've talked about 176 suspicious activity reports. You just mentioned the $20 million that you've identified. We still don't know what exactly they were selling. Why were they getting all this money?
That's a great question. It's obviously influence. There's no other thing. They weren't selling anything. They weren't selling ties or cheap steaks or anything else or real estate. They were just selling influence. And the reason they're saying is because that's all they have. They've run this horse into the ground. And so now, sorry, my lights went out. Joe Biden's trying to cut me off right here. Yeah. But no, that's all they have. And that's why it's just a few of the hardcore liberal ones doing it. You're not seeing your moderate Democrats saying this kind of thing because they know they're not going to. This ship is sinking, Maria, and it's sinking fast, and they know it.
So you've talked about the money they've taken in from China, Russia. I want to ask you about Kazakhstan because John Solomon reported that back in 2015, the future first son delivered FaceTime between Joe Biden and his fellow business partner, Devin Archer, and an international banker that they were courting from Kazakhstan. The House GOP is focusing on this 2015 breakfast, and I want to get your take on what you know about that, the latest that you have learned about in terms of other monies coming from other countries. What were they doing? Courting businessmen to try to get paid for just time with Joe Biden?
Yes, ma'am. You got to realize, too, Hunter Biden went on trips at government expense with his father on Air Force Two to these countries. Then the money would flow into the Biden family bank accounts. And then, lo and behold, a lot of times Joe Biden would have a meeting with these people, and then all of a sudden their troubles would go away. It's a clear pattern of corruption and bribery, I think. And that's one of the things that is impeachable in this country is bribery, and I think it shows a pretty clear pattern of that, Maria.
Well, now you've got to balance this probe with the fact that you've got to keep the government open and funded. Lawmakers have now 9 working days left before the government runs out of money. The GOP couldn't get enough votes yesterday to even start the debate on the defense spending bill. What can you tell us, Congressman, as far as where we stand on a government shutdown? It looks like President Biden is expecting it, and he's trying to connect the dots and trying to say that this whole probe is about Republicans wanting the government to shut down.
Yes, ma'am. He's wrong. He's very insignificant in that role of whether we shut down or not. It's the spending that's the problem. You know, we've cut a lot of money from a lot of the woke programs, multi-millions of dollars from some of these programs, the trans shows and all the things in our military. But the problem is we've reinvested that money back into our military. And in fact, we haven't shown the cuts that some of us in the fiscal conservative corners would like to see. And so I think that's where the problem is.
I see. Real quick, Mike Baker.
Yeah, Congressman, thank you for your time. I'd like to circle back to the impeachment just very quickly. Obviously, the Democrats spent years talking about the evidence that they were going to have for the Russia collusion story. And then it never surfaced, of course, because they didn't have it. Are you confident that with this impeachment inquiry, you'll be able to package up the evidence that you're collecting and explain the situation to the American public? Because I think they're a little bit weary of hearing we have the evidence and then not seeing anything.
Yes, sir. I think they can. I've expressed my interest, Chairman Comer and Speaker McCarthy, that I don't think we need some CBS-produced January 6th production that just goes on and on and on. I think we could make our case within about a week and get that evidence over to the Judiciary Committee and move ahead with this, and then vote it up or down. Let the chips fall, because we all know the Senate won't pass it. That's the thing. So that's why I hope our focus still is on our monetary situation, as our debt, and $32 trillion in debt, actually.
Absolutely.
And those other committees are still meeting at this time. So that will be going in parallel lanes, obviously.
Okay, we'll be watching it all. Congressman, good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maria.
Tim Burchett, we will see you soon, sir.